Hey, what's up, guys? How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing good. Just got done with a job. Had to drive up to Atlanta. Uneventful, but kind of cool. One customer, client, actually was basically I don't know if he's an engineer or if he was actually the contractor, but built the Buc-ee's in Calhoun. And I guess all the Buc-ee's. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Interesting discussion about Buc-ee's. Didn't know a lot of the stuff that he discussed. But anyway, this is just a thought, of course. Which this one has to do with emotional abuse. I've encountered this several times in my life. I've probably even done it, I have to assume. Based off of the premise that I'm about to speak on, which I know that I have, and I think that everybody at some point has in their life done this. And once again, a lot of this goes back to being able to be healed and everything else for it to end. So, I think a lot of emotional abuse towards other people, towards yourself and towards other people, comes from one particular area in your life. What caused it to happen, that's something you would have to figure out for yourself. But the systemic problem that's at the basis of it is fear. So say you're in a relationship and something completely minor, you blow up, you lose your cool, you go off on the person, but for the past couple weeks or months, whatever it is, there's just been a lot of different things that have taken place that have been traumatic. It could have been someone passing or someone about to die, or life-threatening things, or job issues, or whatever it is. Any multitude of different things that cause us stress. Well, what that really means is that fear is the foundation of this. Then that means that when you are reacting to a person in such a way to where you're losing your cool over some of the simplest of smallest of things, it means that you're scared. So in other words, you're not necessarily blowing up about the thing that's taking place at the moment. You're blowing up because of what's taking place in your life over the moments, and you're scared. You're scared of loss. You're scared of, I don't know, harm, death. Whatever the fear is that's at the bottom of this, it is actually that you're actually scared. But instead of facing it, instead of admitting that you're scared, instead of admitting that you have fear in this regard, that you may lose control, or that you may lose something or someone, instead of admitting that and facing it, you strike out and away from it, and you lash out at the very people that you love because you're scared to face yourself and face the mirror that's in front of you. And then that person literally is subjected to this abuse that is really coming from you. You're yelling at them while yelling at yourself in the same motion, because you refuse to accept the fact that you're scared. I look back over my childhood, and I look at the behaviors that my parents had in the house, and the physical and emotional abuse that took place in our house. Well, some of it was based off of the fact of learned behavior from observing it, meaning that their parent did the same thing, so they replicated that. But then also there's the other side of that, which is the fear factor that's involved with it. Because you're striking out because you're scared. You're scared that if I love them, that they're going to leave me. If I love them too much, then they're going to hurt me. So all this fear is rising up. But here's the thing, and I've talked about this before, the law of attraction. So if you're living in fear, if you're scared and you won't admit it and you won't face it, then guess what happens? Say you have a fear that you're going to lose your spouse, or you're going to lose your girlfriend, or whatever it is, for whatever reason you have in your head. Well, then, because of your behavior towards that individual, you start to create the reality of the fear that you have within yourself. So the very thing that you fear starts to happen. You do start to lose that person. That person eventually does go away because they don't want to tolerate, nor should they have to tolerate, that behavior towards them, because it has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with you. But until you're ready to face it, you lash out at that person or persons, because it could be a spouse, it could be your kids, it could be the whole family. All because you're scared. So you create situations that you can control. And you still lose control in your anger. But you're controlling them with fear. Fear that there's going to be harm. Fear that you're going to leave them. Fear that you're going to take the money away. Fear of whatever threats that may come out of your mouth. You're trying to create the very fear that's within you because you're scared. And chances are, if you did that, then also probably your parents did that to you. And possibly their parents did it to them. So how do you stop the foolishness? How do you stop the stupidity of this? By facing the fear, by admitting that you're scared, that you may lose something or someone. Admit it, face it, and come to the reality that at any given moment we all can lose what we consider to be precious to us. But understand that everything that you have in your life is on loan. It is a gift. It is not something that is a right. It is a gift that is there for the purpose that it's there for. Whether it's material, whether it's human, whether it's animal, doesn't matter what it is. Everything has a purpose in your life, for long seasons, for short seasons. And when you come to that realization, then you can step away from the fear of loss, the fear of not having, the fear of not being loved. That one is literally the worst. Because if you fear not being loved, guess what's going to happen? Eventually, you will make everyone in every situation and every person around you probably hate you. To the point of maybe even despising you. See, we are creators. Our thought processes, our mouths, everything that we do is a creation process. So if your thought patterns run around fear instead of life, then what you receive in your life is fear, not life. So you have to change your perspective. If you're one of those people that lashes out at the ones that you love, stop. Admit that you're scared. Admit that you are scared out of your mind. That you are fearful of loss, of whatever it is that you're fearing. Admit it. Face it. And then tell it to leave. Tell it to go. Because you have nothing to fear. The creator of this universe has nothing but love for you. Why? Because he is love. So therefore, it says love casts out all fear. Perfect love casts out all fear. Well, what's perfect love? That is the creator. Perfect love. He casts out all fear. So when you understand that, when you understand that there's nothing to fear because you have the creator of everything that has ever been and ever will be loving you, then the fact that you, or the illusion that you think that you will not ever be loved is a lie. Because the more that you come in contact with the truth of that you are truly loved, that you are inevitably invaluable and loved beyond measure, then you will automatically start to love everything around you. And every person, everything, every animal, you will start to love. Because you will have no fear, because once again, perfect love casts out fear. So stop doing what you're doing. If this is you, stop doing what you're doing, because you even do it to yourself. Twice. By the very fact you can create fear of failure within yourself, that you are not good enough, that you cannot succeed, that you can't do this task, that you can't love somebody, that you can't, then you won't. Ever. So stop believing the lie and start to believe the truth that you are loved. And then start from there. Don't start with how your parents treated you, and don't start with victimization, and don't start with abandonment. Don't start with all of these things that are the result of fear. Start with love, because love will be the very thing that casts out the fear, so that you can see the abandonment issue, so you can see the abusive issue, so you can see all the things that need correction in your life. But if you look at your life through the lens of fear, you will see nothing but a lie. But if you can look through it through the eyes of love, you will see everything in its imperfection, so that it can be dealt with. So, sorry. No, I'm not sorry, because this bothers me so much, because I've walked this road. This is why it upsets me, because I've walked this road, and I know how frustrating and how angry a person can get. When my children were young, and I never understood it. It made no sense to me. And I did it with my son Jacob. And Jacob, if you're watching, I know I've apologized for this, but once again, I am sorry. If my children would get hurt, I would get angry. Not empathetic, I would get angry. Like I wanted to beat them because they got hurt. Makes no sense. Unless I'm not living in love, I'm not living my life through the lens of love, but I'm living in fear. My child gets hurt. It scares the shit out of me. I can't do anything. I couldn't do anything to stop it because of how he got hurt. So then I'm mad because I couldn't stop my son from suffering in pain. But then I take out that fear and that scaredness that's within me, and I take it out on him. The very one who got hurt. Follow that logic? So I understand. I completely understand. And I know I'm not the only person who's had those feelings. So anyway, think about it. That's why this is called Just a Thought, so you can think about it. And then after you're done thinking about it, if this is you, which I feel it's probably the majority of people who could be listening, because we've all responded in so many ways in our lives in fear. And I'm still working on it. There's still situations in my life that I have to fight off fear, that I have to come through it, and I have to look at it, and I have to figure out why, and then I have to apply love to it so that I can actually not be fearful anymore. One of my greater physical fears is anything doing with water, of swimming. And I've done a lot over the years on being able to swim, because I taught myself to swim at 21 because I was scared to death of drowning, because I almost drowned as a child. So it took that long to even learn how to swim. Not a great swimmer. So that means, going out on boats, going out in the sea, going to, down river rafting, all that other stuff. That's a fear that's in me because I don't want to die in the water. Is that a legitimate fear? Well, yeah, it's a possibility that something could happen. But if I'm living in love, and the Creator's got it, which He always does, and if it's not my time to go, to leave this body and go do whatever else I got to do, then there's nothing to fear. And even if it is my time to go do whatever it is I got to go do, there's still nothing to fear, because that's just moving on to the next part of my journey. So at some point, I'm going to put this on a raft and go down a freaking river. I was scared to death of heights. Taken me a lot of years to conquer it. Still got a little bit left, but I've been conquering it because I've had to face it. Face your fears. But in your relationships with the ones that you love, it's really important that you do, because you'll lose everything, every single one of them, if you're living in this arena of fear. Because you will destroy them and you will lose them. And there is no guarantee that you will ever get them back, because they do not deserve the treatment. No one does. You don't deserve the treatment to yourself that way. So anyway, I think I'm done now. To all my friends out there and anybody that watches this, once again, thank you. Thank you for just listening. You guys have no idea how much I care and love each and every one of you, because there's so many people that I know that watch this. They may never hit like or whatever else, but I found out over the years that people have watched these. And you don't know how much that means, because if it at any point touches something within you, if it causes just the slightest spark within you to ignite something within you that causes change, for you to take one more step that particular day in the direction you're supposed to go, it's worth it, man. It's everything to me. Kindness. Yeah. Anyway, love you guys. Peace.